Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing the project box by Mormino. This is the summer project sew-along box that she is coming out with. So pretty. It comes with pretty much everything you need to make an entire bag. So this is a collab that Lauren is doing with Sincerely Jen. The pattern is the one with Mormino crossbody, and it looks like it's going to be a really quick sew. The box also comes with this really pretty ruler. It comes with zipper tape. It comes with thread snips, and I believe that the ones that are coming in the actual box are going to be rainbow, but they weren't here in time, so she just sent these, but from what my understanding is that they'll be rainbow. It comes with all the hardware that you're going to need to make the bag, along with zipper pulls. They're the rose flower ones that she has. It also comes with this really cute cork tag. It comes with clips, a marking pen, and that is all for the little supplies. I did add a couple extra things in here for me, like this webbing along with my metal tag. If you don't have a metal tag, that's okay, because you can totally just use the cork tag. It also comes with this pretty exterior, like it looks like it's like waterproof canvas with her design on it. So it comes, it's about a yard, I would say, or maybe a half yard, but it's more than enough to make the bag. So you have the exterior here, which is that pretty floral watercolor, and then it comes with this water resistant canvas in just a solid color. So that is what comes in it. Obviously I cut the pieces out. It comes with the pattern as well, and the pattern pieces. So I am doing a mix. I'm going to do the exterior pockets with this pretty watercolor, but I'm going to do my bag in leather just because that's just what I like. So I'm using this like teal kind of green color, and I skived my edges here. As you can see, I skived them to a 1/2 inch because that's what the seam allowance is. So I just skived it a 1/2 inch on all the sides just to help with the bulk. So that is what I did for that. And then I also did for my connectors, I did the same thing where I skived the edges as well for both of my connectors. Okay, so let's get started on the pattern. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want it to do is we're going to want to grab the back main panel, which is going to be the piece here that has that cutout. Along with the back pocket A, which also is going to have the cutout as well. So let me just see if I can find my pieces, because I did not organize them, and I should have. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and open up my ruler here. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to sew this right sides together. with a seam allowance of a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to clip these on. And I have my stitch length set to like a 3 1/2. So we're just going to stitch this right here at that 1/2 inch. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start right here. Let me show you. We're going to start right here and go all the way around up to here. And I'm sorry if my camera is not, my view is not the best. I am really trying to work on my angles, but I just cannot seem to get the right one. It's like I feel like I have it, and then I get negative feedback, and then I have to try all over again. Okay, so I'm just going to start back stitch. I'm going to move some of this stuff over so it's not in my way. I'm just going to go at that 1/2 inch. And if you want, you could totally mark out your seam allowance. Especially around that curve. But I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, back stitch. And of course, I lost my snips already. Okay. All right, so we have it stitched down at that 1/2 inch seam allowance. Let's go ahead and detail back out. We're going to trim this seam allowance down to about 1/8 of an inch. And what I like to do whenever I'm cutting down seam allowance that has this curve, I like to use pinking shears. It just kind of helps with the curve. I'm just going to cut this down here. And then I'm going to put a couple clips right where it's going to turn, just right where the triangles are. So if you can see these little triangles right here, I'm just cutting in between them. Just a little bit, not too much, because you don't want to go through the stitching. So you can see right where I cut through it, right there. So now you just want to turn this so that right sides are touching now, or wrong side, sorry. I'm going to, since I'm using leather, I'm not going to be able to press this. So I'm going to just clip to hold it in. Just like so. So I'm just clipping that in just like that, rolling those edges so that you cannot see any of the exterior or the lining. And now what we're going to do is we want to top stitch around here at 1/8 of an inch. So what I like to do is I like to put my stitch length up to about a 4 1/4. I'd say, yeah, like a 4.5. It's just personal preference. So right here we're going to stitch this at 1/8 of an inch, or top stitch. So just gonna go slowly around, making sure everything stays nice and aligned. Okay. So there we go. We have this top stitch. Like so. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place the back pocket B side, which the back pocket B side is from the lining here. I'm just trying to see which is the right side or wrong side. Actually, I think. Actually, I think it's this piece. I probably should have labeled. Okay, yeah. It's this one here. And we're just going to line it up to your exterior piece here. Okay, so we just clip this to the lining piece here. And we are going to sew this at a 1/2 inch, but we're only sewing these pieces here, the lining and the back pocket lining. So you're not going to be sewing your exterior piece. So you're just going to want to move it out of the way, and we're going to stitch this down at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So you can see it is now a pocket. So now what we'll do is you want to just do a small baste right here at 1/4 of an inch, just at the top. So I guess it doesn't pull away like so. So we're just going to baste right here 1/4 of an inch and right here 1/4 of an inch. So we just have this right here, top stitch or baste. Oops. That silent mode. So we're going to set this piece aside now because the back main panel is assembled. Okay, so now that we've finished assembling the back main, we are going to assemble the front. So what you're going to need is you're going to need your 11-inch zipper along with your zipper tabs, and you're going to want to have your zipper pull. I'm going to pull out one of the zipper pulls that you can find in the little bag. So let's go ahead and add on this zipper here. So, not typically the best at putting these on, and I have a zipper jig, but I'm not very good at the zipper jig either. So, I tend to just sit here and struggle with it. So, there we go. Isn't that so pretty? Okay, so I got my zipper tabs here. And what we're going to do is you want to just add the zipper tabs right sides touching your zipper. And you're going to want to stitch that at a 1/2 inch. I'm just going to clip here, and then I'm going to move to the other side and do the same thing. And I'm just making sure I'm consistent on what side I'm using as the right and the wrong. I feel like this more smooth side is probably the wrong side, but okay. Sorry, we got a new kitten, so my sons have been taking pictures and they come and show me when the kitten is sleeping. So he was coming to show me all the pictures he's taken. So I'm just making sure it's nice and aligned. So this is what my zipper looks like. And now we're going to just stitch that at the 1/2 inch. And I'm going to back stitch right there, and then I'm just going to pull this out a little bit so that I can just go ahead and sew right on. And then back stitching. Okay, so that is stitched on. I hope you can see. I'm going to go ahead and zoom y'all back out. So now you can go ahead and just flip the zipper tabs up so the wrong sides are touching, and you are going to top stitch using 1/8 of an inch. And you want to make sure that you put your zipper tab on, or your zipper on, because I can't tell you how many times I have did a zipper tab and realized I did not put the zipper pull on. Okay, there we go. So this is what our zipper looks like. Okay, so now that we've done our zipper tabs onto our zipper, we're going to just set that aside real quickly. And you're going to want to grab your exterior pocket, the contrasting pocket A, and the exterior front pocket. So this is the exterior front pocket, and then you want to get the pocket contrast A is the one that is 1.5 inches in width. Okay. So we're going to line this up here, wrong sides together. We're going to stitch this at, let's see, we're going to sew this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Let me zoom out in, it's easier. So just top stitch that at 1/8 of an inch. Now we're going to place the zipper pocket, or the zipper. We're going to place that here. And you want it to where it is closing to the left. So I'm just going to align the zipper. And we're going to, so I'm going to use like a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. There we go. That's all done. So look like this. Okay, now that we've put the zipper on, what we're going to do is you're going to grab one of your, the pattern piece front pocket. This is going to be the taller one. So you'll have this one here, and then you have one that you cut on the dash line, and it's going to be smaller. So you can see here that one is shorter than the other. you're going to want to get the taller one. And we're going to cut off a 1/2 inch from the top. So I'm just going to mark out a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to just mark this out at a 1/2 inch. I'm going to go to my cut table and trim it off my rotary cutter, and then I'm going to come back. So I'm just going to use a chalk runner, and it's going to be a 1/2 inch from the top. There's that 1/2 inch mark. I'm going to go to my rotary, my cut table. I'm going to cut this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here's that 1/2 inch that I just cut off of the top. Real quickly, I'm going to mark again that this is my top. And now we're going to place this front pocket right sides together. So I'm going to place my lining. So this is the right side. I'm going to place it down so that the right sides are together here. And I'm going to clip in place we're going to sew directly over this stitching here. So let's zoom out in. So you can see my previous stitching right there. That's where we're going to stitch. I'm getting close to where my zipper pull is at, so I'm going to put my needle down and just move it out of the way. Okay, so what we're going to do here is once you've attached our lining here, we're just going to flip this over like so, and we're going to top stitch this right underneath here at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So it's going to look just like this. Sorry. You can see where I top stitch. And zoom out. So you can kind of see the whole piece here. So this is what it's going to look like. So you'll have a right side here and a right side here. Then we're going to get the contrasting pocket B, which is the one that's 3/4 of an inch wide. And we're going to place this with our zipper, matching the edges here. So it's going to look just like this. And we're going to, it wants you to stitch at 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. However, if you use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, you're going to want to use a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance again. So whatever seam allowance you use to put this zipper on is the seam allowance you're going to use for this. And that also is just dependent on your zipper. If you use a number 5 or a number 3. I think a number 5 is 1 inch and a 1/4, and a number 3 is 1 inch wide. So that would be why you would have a smaller seam allowance. So like I said, I do mine a little bit less than 3/8 of an inch. I have like a mark on my, sewing plate here, and that's what I use to gauge that length. So now we're going to place the taller. So we should have one short one that we cut on the dot on the dash, and then we should have one taller one. So we're going to grab the taller, remaining taller one, which is the last one because we use the other one on the other side. And we're going to place this here with this pocket here. It's going to be right sides touching on the lining piece. So you'll have the right side here and then the right side here. So it'll be right sides together. And we're going to stitch that just on that same line that we made. So it should look like this. So this should be wrong side so that you have two right sides here, because that's going to make your pocket. So you're going to press this pocket lining here up. And you're going to want to just find your centers on this piece. I'm just going to find my centers here, add a little snip. I can find some. There we go. So I just found my center. I don't know if you can see right here. And we're going to measure this down at 1¼ inch from the top of this piece here. You're going to want to reinforce it with either a scrap of waterproof canvas, or you can use foam or Peltex if you have some line around. So I'm going to measure out this here at 1¼ inch from my center. I'm going to mark it right here. So I'm just marking. I'm going to zoom you in. So I don't know if you can see my mark. It's very faint right there. So there's my mark at 1¼ and I'm gonna get me some scrap piece of whatever I can find, I guess. I have this Deckerville light and So Fuse Plus. That's what I'm going to use to reinforce mine. So grab your piece here, your bag that comes with all of your hardware. So I have my hardware here, and I'm just going to center this on my I'm just going to center this washer onto my stabilizer, and I'm going to see if I can find where I put my razor or my craft knife. I don't know where. Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm going to just get my craft knife. I'm just going to center this here and just add some slits in, because that Now I'm going to do the same exact thing right where I centered that dot. I'm going to go ahead and add my lines for my washer. So I have my lines for my washer right here. And I'm going to do the same thing where I just add my craft knife to add little slits. I'm going to grab my reinforcer pieces here, my reinforcing pieces. And we are going to place the, let's see, if it's the male or the female. So I believe this is going to be, so I'm going to do the female or the male side on mine. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. We're going to add our reinforcing pieces. So I'm going to add my Decoville light first and then my So Fuse piece. And then I will add my washer. And then you can so it should be like this. So now what we're going to do is we want to base the exterior sides here. So we're just going to base this. And just move the hardware. Okay, so we're just basting the sides just below the contrasting piece. So it's basted on the side at that 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Just going to just taking off this extra threads. So now we're going to place the remaining shorter lining front piece, which is going to be this piece right here, with the pocket contrasting B. It's going to be right sides together. So you want your right sides together here, so matching your right sides. And we're going to sew this together at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And for those, I know that this might come up. I'm using the Thor 1541S. A lot of people are intimidated by this machine, and a lot think that you can't stitch or sew thinner fabric. You totally can stitch thinner fabric. I mean, this is I don't know if you can see that's my stitching there on the front, and that's my stitching there. And this is just water resistant canvas. It's really not very thick. The only thing is that you have to be comfortable with your tension and being able to adjust it. I also found that adjusting my foot, depending on the thickness of my of the fabric I'm using. So since this is thinner fabric, I obviously want to adjust the height that my foot goes up. So on mine, I have a little like dial at the top that's numbered 1, 2, 6, and depending on how high I can adjust it so that the foot goes up higher and higher. But right now I have it at a 2, and it's perfect. And I'm able to go between the two. I'm stitching this with. I'll be attaching this to leather, and that's a pretty big, thickness difference from the two of the canvas. So you're definitely able to sew thinner fabrics or materials on this machine. Okay. So now you're going to flip it up just like this. So we attached it this way, and we're just going to turn it up. You want to press the seam allowance towards the pocket contrasting. So this is a pocket contrasting here. You want to push the seam allowance down because you're going to want to catch it when you top stitch. So we're going to top stitch here on the contrasting. So you want to make sure that your seam allowance is facing this way towards your zipper. So we're going to top stitch this here at 1/8 of an inch. So now we top stitch that part. I'm going to trim off this excess threads here. Okay, so we're going to fold this pocket down here to the edge right here. So you're going to have these right sides touching. So, because this will help give a clean edge since the bottom is going to be exposed. It doesn't go all the way down in. So it should look like this. So we are just matching the raw edges here. And we're going to sew this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. We're going to trim this down to 1/8 of an inch. Grab my scissors, just trim this down. And now we're going to turn our pocket right sides out. So you're just going to pull it through like this. So it should look just like this. And you're going to want to roll this up here so that the lining is not showing at the bottom. So just going to crease this. It's going to look just like this, and then you're going to want to make sure that it's nice and even up here at the top because we're going to top stitch this. So we're going to want to top stitch along the top here and the bottom here. So I'm going to zoom y'all in. So we're gonna top stitch first. I'm gonna top stitch at the top here, 1/8 of an inch. I'm just gonna put my stitch length to about a 4. So we top stitch the top right here. Now we're gonna top stitch right here where the zipper is at. And that is how it should look. So it should look, there should be top stitching right here and top stitching right here at the top. So now we're gonna install the other half of the magnetic snap onto the exterior main. So we're just gonna set this aside real quickly. Grab your exterior main pocket piece. Zoom out so you have your exterior and we are going to install the second half. So I'm going to just real quickly find my centers. Grab my ruler. And you're going to want to grab the marking pen that is in the box if you're using a leather or vinyl. If you're using, I mean, you can use this too because you're not going to see it. And we're going to measure down, let's see, 2.5 inches. Oh, wait, sorry, no. 9 inches up from the bottom straight edge. So, need a center here, 9 inches up. So, I don't know if you can see it, let me remark. So you can see right here my little mark, 9 inches up from the bottom edge here. And I'm going to grab a washer again. Grab this washer and I'm just going to mark. I want to mark those little slits. And I'm going to grab the female piece, or the whatever, the opposite of whatever it is you used last time. So we have our magnetic snap placed in. And you want to measure 2.5 inches from the bottom edge again. So you're going to want to measure 2.5 inches, and that is where we are going to place this piece here. And it should snap right in. So it should be about 2.5 inches. And now we're going to just top stitch this. So what I'm going to do is, or not top stitch, we're going to base this in and then top stitch the bottom. So what I want to do is I want to clip this because I want to make sure that it doesn't shift. You're going to baste a 1/4 of an inch on the sides, and at the bottom it's going to be a basting stitch, so you want to baste it at 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to baste this here now at a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So there is our pocket. So it has a zipper pocket, and then you can open this up for a slip pocket. So now we are going to assemble our exteriors. So we can grab our 2 exteriors. So you have your exterior back and your exterior, oops. So you have your exterior back with the slip pocket here, and then you have your exterior front. You're just going to place them together, clip, sew this together on the sides, both sides and the bottom. You're going to want to backstitch as you sew over the top of the front pocket just for some extra strength. So we're going to sew this here at an 1/2 inch seam allowance. So we're just going to trim on the sides and the bottom. So it wants you to trim down the seam allowance except for at the top of the pocket. So that's what I'm going to do. So we'll trim that down. We're going to box these corners now. Matching these corners like so that it creates a little box. And we're going to stitch this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So there we go. We have our corners. So we're going to trim it each corner down to 1/8, but we're not going to trim right in the center. So just right here on the edges here, because you don't want to cut the center where that stitching is at. You don't want it to like come apart. So I'm just going to cut some of the bulk off right there. And now you can turn it right sides out. This is what it should look like right now. Super cute. and the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to be doing our strap connectors. So let's go ahead and on the wrong side of the strap connectors, we're going to center this. So this is 2 inches, so we're going to mark down the center 1 inch. I'm going to grab some double-sided tape. Put it down my center here. And do the same. So the double-sided tape is added on, and we're going to just get our raw edge and line it up to that center. Let's go ahead and do our other side. I'm going to top stitch the sides here just because I'm using leather, so I don't want it to come apart just because of how bulky it is. So I'm going to top stitch this. Grab your triangles, and I'm going to just slide that in like so. My leather is fairly bulky, so I top stitched it. I'm going to just base the bottom here, and then I'm going to add a rivet. That will help to hold it so that you can't see, because you can see some of the raw edges, but just to kind of hold it in. But I won't be, just because of the bulk, I won't be doing where you, 1/8 of an inch down here, go across, and then go back down. Now we need to attach the strap connectors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my bag set this. You see I have that little 1/2 inch above. So I'm just centering this as best as I can. Just gonna take a clip to one side. Sorry. You can hear my little one. So I'm gonna base this in place at a okay. So we're gonna base this at a 1/4 of an inch. And I'm just flattening this out like this. You can kind of see. I can adjust my camera here. So I'm just flattening this out, making sure that that line, that 1/2 inch line that I drew, is just even with the line of my exterior here. And I'm going to make sure that my seams are flat. And we're going to base this at a 1/4 of an inch. And I just want to make sure that this is nice and centered. Okay. So just going to do that again. Okay, so I have that stitched on, both sides with the 1/2 inch out from, I'm just gonna pull off this excess thread. So now we are doing the interior zipper pocket. So you're gonna grab your lining piece or your main panel lining, and then one of your zipper pockets. Put our interior zipper pocket wrong sides up, 2 inches down. So I'm going to fold this so that I can get my center. I have my center right here at that crease, and then I got my 2 inches right here. I'm going to make a 7-inch box that's a 1/2 inch wide. So I have the zipper template from Tops and Bobbin, and it has the 1/2 inch zipper templates, and it has a 7-inch box. So I just need to find my center and now just want to make sure. What I'm going to do here is just make this a little bit easier for me. I'm going to find that center right here. And I'm going to just, with some chalk, mark it out. So I'm just adding this little 2-inch mark from where it's supposed to be for the top. And we're gonna stitch this. So I like to just have my stitch length at like a 3, really small. And I'm just making sure that it's lined up at the top here, and then I'm just lining up these creases that I have. Just gonna go ahead and stitch that box out. Make a little snip in the center here, because I can stick my and then about a 1/2 inch away, I just Y out and try to get as close as I can to that corner without snipping my my stitching. So now you can see where we have this, and we're going to turn it in like so. So now the right side is facing out and the wrong sides are touching here. Just measure out the zipper size. And I'm gonna find my lighter, just seal these edges here. Grab one of the zipper pulls. And attach your zipper. Now, you can place your zipper like so, and then you're going to top stitch all the way around. zipper is in. Now you're going to grab your second pocket piece here, and you're just going to put it right sides together. And you want to stitch this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance, leaving the bottom open. And what I like to do is I like to turn up my pocket. So here, this will just help when we go to turn the pocket out and top stitch it. So we're gonna start here, and we're gonna stitch this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around. And so I'm going to just trim a little bit of the bulk here. Now I want to make sure that it looks like I didn't go all the way on the edge, so I just want to make sure that I get it fully closed on that bottom. And then just helps So that is the pocket, or the zipper pocket, and it should still be open from the back. We're going to measure 1 1/4 down from both of the lining panel pieces to add our snaps. Grab the remaining magnet snaps that we have. Right here. I'm going to center my washer, add my slits for where my prongs are going to go. And there we go. So now we're going to do the same thing we did to our main exterior. So I just placed my magnetic snap together, and you can see it just aligns it perfectly. And so now we're going to do the same thing where we're going to sew this together a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to box these corners right here. 1/2 inch seam allowance. Just making sure that the seams match on both sides. So I'm just going to pull. I'm just going to open up these seams like so. Clip. And I'm going to open up the seams on this side. There we go, and stitch this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And we are really right at the finish line. I kind of cheated a little bit. I'm not sewing up a strap. I'm just gonna use some strap webbing. This could really be a super quick sew. Not that straps take that long, but all right. So these are boxed. I'm just gonna trim off some of this bulk here. Not too much. I don't want this to fray on me. So now let's just trim off some of this excess. Make sure you open up your zipper pocket. I'm going to place the lining inside the exterior, right sides together. You can see that my exterior is wrong sides out, and my interior, my lining is wrong sides out as well. So you're going to want to turn your exterior out so that it's right sides. Because you're going to want right sides touching for this part. We're going to place the lining inside the exterior, right sides together. The side of the lining with the interior zipper pocket will be against the back of the exterior. So this is the back here. That is where you want your zipper, because it's going to be on the back of the bag. Line up the seams here. Line up the seams on the side. So that's how I'm going to start, is by lining up my seams here. And then I'm just going to clip the top here all the way around. Okay, so there we go. Now we're going to stitch this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the entire side. So I am just going to put my foot in, and we're just going to stitch this. Oops, and I broke a clip. How sad is that? Okay, make sure you don't put your foot down on your clip. It's a little bulky here where the strap is, so I'm just going to place this little, I'm going to place my foot here, or the this jean jig, and I'm going to adjust the size or the height that my foot goes. And I'm going to actually backstitch here because I want to make sure that it's nice and secured. And I'm just going to turn this as I go. Like I said, making sure everything is nice and aligned, and that I'm still at that 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to actually add some duct tape right here. That will just help from it wearing out my bag. So now we are just going to turn this right sides. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clip my magnetic snap to just kind of help guide me. So I'm going to do the same to this side and the same here. And then I'm going to work my way out. Hopefully you're not like me who did not center their crossbody. It happens. Mine is way off, so it'll be okay. I have already decided that this will be my bag anyways, because I need one. Now we can top stitch. So this has you top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Because I am using leather, I like to top stitch at 1/4 of an inch. So that is what I'm gonna do. And typically I will take this to my cylinder arm, but I don't have a camera set up there, so I'm going to have to do this this way. I'm a little nervous, but I should have probably, I'm going to turn my bag wrong sides out to hopefully help me so that my leather isn't by the feed dogs, because the last thing I want is for my feed dogs to chew up my leather. So I'm just carefully turning this wrong sides out. Okay. So I'm going to start on this side and go around, and then, because I like to start on the back, it kind of gives me, you know, helps me get in the groove so that when I get to the front, it's not like super wonky. And if it is wonky in the back, that's okay because it's the back. Now I'm adjusting my foot height a little bit since I'm coming up on the leather again. And that will just help ease that, get that through. And then here, it's going to be a bit bulky, so I'm going to, once again, adjust my foot to, I have it at a 5 right now. Okay, so now that we top stitch, I'm just going to turn this right side out now. So there we go. Such a cute bag. I love this. This is honestly, I've been needing a bag, and this is going to be perfect because I want something that fits my switch, and I think this will fit it perfectly. So now all we need to do is I'm going to add in my nameplate. So I'm just kind of like eyeballing it from the center of where my like magnetic snap is at, and I'm just putting my prongs out. There we go. So now I have my purse name on, and I can set this aside for now because we can move on to the straps. Okay, so I'm going to just real quickly heat set these, the webbing here to make sure it doesn't fray. I'm going to grab my adjuster. I'm going to place let me jam y'all in. So I'm going to kind of eyeball this about an inch. I'm going to fold it, and then I'm going to fold it again so that there is about an inch. And I'm going to stitch this down. So now I'm just going to place this over through. You're going to grab your swivel hook right here, making sure that it is up. So you want this side up, making sure it's not. You want to make sure it's not twisted. And then you will go through and over one more time. So now your strap is like this. So you have one end here, and then you have a raw edge here. We're going to do the same thing that we did to the other side. I'm just going to fold, just eyeballing it, and then fold, and I'm going to just stitch there. And then I'm going to add one more stitch line at the very bottom here, and then I can rivet that. And there we go. I have my strap. See if I can zoom y'all way out, move y'all a little bit. So now what we're gonna do is we're just going to close up our pocket. Just going to place one of Lauren's tags. This one here says, "I know I can't believe I'm handmade either." And I'm just going to, so I'm just trying to turn this pocket here at 1/8 of an inch right here. I'm just gonna make sure that everything is nice and folded. Back stitching. And then I just eyeball. So I just fold it like so. Go down right when I get to about the middle. Place my tag in. I'm just about to the middle. I'm going to place that in. And back stitch. There we go. Have my pocket. Zoom y'all out. Now you can just add your pocket in, close it up, and your bag is finished. And there it is. Love it. So thank you everybody for joining me. I will leave all of the items along with, hopefully, I think we have the link for the project box in the description. And thank you for showing along with me. If you have any questions, just comment and I will try to reply as soon as possible. Thank you everybody. Bye.